Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quest, a journey into true crime and the paranormal. I am your host, Misty Gaither. I am a psychic medium. I am also a paranormal investigator and somebody that you may not want to play Jeopardy with because I might get a couple of questions right. I thought I'd just throw that in there. Tonight, I'm so excited to have with me also a paranormal investigator, author, motivational speaker, and influencer, Nicole Beauchamp. How you doing?
I'm doing great now that I'm speaking to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It is a sweltering 5,000 degrees here in New Orleans, and I think it's kind of hot up in Michigan too, so I don't know what's going on. It's just damn hot everywhere, evidently.
We're all gonna melt, and then there's gonna be no one left to do the ghost hunting. So,
But we shall arise from the ashes or the melting and do it. So I am so excited because October the 4th, you are coming to New Orleans to the Haunted Hotel. As y'all know, is like one of my very favorite places in New Orleans to go. And you're having your book release party for your Haunted French Quarter Hotels book. And you're
hmm
going to have some vendors, and I'm going to be there and doing some psychic and medium readings, and doing a tour, a ghost tour, maybe a hunt or something going on. And so tell me, what intrigued you so much about the Haunted Hotel? Because you could probably have had your book release anywhere, especially at the ones that are in the book. But what intrigued you so much about that particular location?
so I've actually stayed there before, and I had a bunch of paranormal encounters while I stayed there. And truth be told, I really love Ginger. She's a really sweet lady.
She is.
I thought everything that you were doing there was really cool because, of course, I follow your journey. And I think that, for me, it's not always about the pomp and circumstance. Like, I love New Orleans for all its aspects, whether it be like, you know, uh, the good parts and the grimy parts and the elegant parts. I mean, I love it for what it is. And the Haunted Hotel, in a lot of ways, just kind of encompasses New Orleans culture in that it's very accessible for people of all financial groups. You know, it's not really a place where people, I mean, it's a nice hotel, don't get me wrong by any means, but I feel like hosting something like this at the Hotel Monteleone, as gorgeous as it is, in some ways may feel a little pretentious. And I want my events to feel very community oriented, and I want everybody to feel welcome to come and get a signed book or get a psychic reading or just hang out and talk to some of the vendors that we're going to have, because this book is really about is celebrating New Orleans community as a whole and all of the different aspects of the city and all the people that make it what it is.
French Quarter Hotels, is that your fifth book or your fourth book?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually my fourth. I'm working on my fifth one right now, but that's going to be focused on mid-Michigan.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah,
I was
so
going to ask you about your fifth book. I know that you probably can't get into it. I didn't know, like, if you could, like, maybe give me just a small tidbit of just something, like, of what's to come for your book number five.
it's called Haunted Mid Michigan, and it's going to focus, of course, on the Mid Michigan region of the state. And that encompasses a lot. So, like the area that I live in is called the Great Lakes Bay region. So it's going to feature that, and then the greater Lansing area, the Flint area a little bit. It's going to cover quite a bit of ground. But what I think's really cool about the book that I'm working on now is that it's a lot of places that maybe don't have like they have a lot of documentation if you actually look and dig through the historical archives, but it's not like easily accessible information. So I always, I guess, pride myself on trying to find some more like obscure facts and details and things like that where I can kind of, I guess, print stuff that hasn't been printed before. So this book's going to feature a lot of like smaller towns and things like that, and places that have never really been published about before in this much depth.
So now, speaking of Michigan, you're going to have a kickoff on your new book release September the 6th in Lansing, Michigan, and it's called Victorian Seance and book
Hmm.
release. Now, that really caught my attention because, a Victorian seance, I mean, is it going to be like the Victorian times or is it going to have more of a modern spin on it? Because me and my wife, Catherine, we actually had a seance done and it was Victorian style with Richard Lee L. Lillard. And that was an experience. So I was just curious if it's going to be more of the kind of the flash, what do you call it, the flashback or more modern.
So my goal right now is to have it as authentic as possible to the Victorian era. Now I can't guarantee that I'm going to show up wearing like, corset in a big dress like they did back then.
Pictures.
But I'm going to have like dowsing rods. I'm looking at getting a spirit trumpet, like a Victorian table bell.
Oh,
Like I'm looking
wow.
at getting all of these things to make it as authentic as possible. For one, I think that this I well, based on my opinion and my experiences within the building that we're having it, it's an extremely haunted building, potentially one of the most haunted in Michigan. Of course, everybody's got their own perception of that, but I've just had so many crazy things happen there. And I thought, why don't we have a Victorian seance, like very traditional, and have it in one of the most haunted buildings in the state? And I bring in some of my haunted artifacts from my collection. And then my friend brings in some haunted artifacts from, his collection.
Hmm.
And we put them all together and see what happens. And so I think it's going to be an amazing event and I'm very much looking forward to it. But yes, we're not aiming so much for so much theatrical, I,
Right,
I
right.
guess like a stage production kind of ordeal. It's going to be more authentic with authentic tools and things like that to try to communicate with the dead.
Right. I was hoping that that's what you would say because I'm really, I've mentioned this several times on my show how that sometimes as investigators and even the audience, we everybody gets kind of caught up in all the bells and the whistles and the lights and I said when we spend all this money on all kind of equipment and then now it's like okay we spent all this money but we're back to like cat balls. And
Yeah.
so, but to have the authentic, because if you think about it, some of the locations, they're not going to respond, I don't think, as well to this new equipment than
Mm-hmm.
maybe that they would kind of the older, less flamboyant, kind of equipment. So, what are your thoughts on that?
When my father was still alive, he bought so much equipment. I mean, packed these very tall tubs full, and we'd have to cart these tubs everywhere. And for me, I mean, sometimes I don't even record when I have something happen. I sometimes just live in the moment because I think the most powerful and impactful thing for me when it comes to the paranormal is just having that experience by myself because I don't really necessarily need to prove anything to anybody as far as like proof of an afterlife. For me, it's just more having that experience and feeling comfort in a lot of ways. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course, depending on the experience, but I think like getting some sort of a sign of an afterlife is comforting. Of course, when like on the last investigation that I did, a cabinet, a big glass like curio cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
was shaken and it like started rocking towards me like it
Oh,
was gonna hit
wow.
me. Um, so that was terrifying a
Yeah.
little bit, but I think above all though, sometimes it's just about being in that moment. But if I have to pick equipment, it's going to be just a standard audio recorder and something like that, maybe a spirit box. I love the dowsing rods. I haven't
Oh,
worked with
yeah.
them that much, but I think stuff like that's really cool.
Let's talk about your haunted objects. You do
Okay.
a exhibition Do you
Mhm.
travel around with it and you bring your haunted objects, or you just go to maybe a couple of places or whatever? But my point is, like, what is all in your collection? Because I always find that intriguing for people that collect haunted objects, because that's like, hey, I'm bringing you into my home or wherever that you may keep them, and so you develop kind of a relationship with the haunted objects as far as the spirits or whatever that's in there.
As far as like what's in the collection, it ranges quite a bit. So I have human bones, I have Victorian morning hair, uh, and I have artifacts that have come from all over the world. I have a roof tile from the Carndew house in Northern Ireland, which is thought to be the most haunted house in Northern Ireland. I have uh, a prop from the movie Schindler's
Oh
List.
wow.
So it's got the Star of David on the bottom of it. I mean, it just like I said, I just have such an array of items, but some of them I have, I guess, more of like a positive connotation with. Like my skull, we call her Brandy. And brandy is thought to be like a harbinger of good luck. So a lot
Ooh.
of people that have held brandy at events that we've done have had good things happen in their lives. And she's just got like a really good energy. My stuff from Poland, I'm actually terrified of because I was staying at the AC Marriott in Krakow and I brought these props into this hotel, not thinking anything of it. And we began experiencing so much activity. So, situations like laying in bed and hearing the shower turn on, but it didn't just sound like the shower turned on or like the water was draining. Like it sounded like somebody was in the bathroom actually using it.
Wow.
We had another situation where my fiance actually left. I was just in the hotel room by myself. I went to sleep with like back to sleep with half the lights on, half off.
Yeah.
Woke up with all the lights on, the curtains open, the balcony door open. Uh, so then I was thinking to myself, we're always saying how we're afraid of the dark. Well, now I feel kind of afraid of the light. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but I guess something else that happened that was super unsettling was I felt like I was being tickled, and at first I thought it was my fiance, and then I learned that the tickling sensation was coming actually from the mattress that I was laying on. So
Wow. Oh,
very unsettling stuff.
sure, sure. But you'd still have these.
I do, but you know what? I've never brought those objects actually into my apartment.
That might be wise.
Yeah, I'm really like truthfully afraid of them because it was almost like there was somebody in the hotel room with me that I could not see, and it was apparent in everything that happened because I mean, I'd be in the bathroom getting ready for the day, and I could hear what sounded like somebody like rummaging through my suitcase or walking around. And each time I would come out of the bathroom, there would be like all the lights, for example, were on like different light switches,
Mm-hmm.
and each light switch would be like in a different positions. So like one light would be off, another light would be on, and they would always change.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I came out and or one day, a couple seconds later I came out and the safe was fully opened and everything with a little note inside.
With a note.
Yeah. I mean it was like a hotel note, but it
Okay.
was just like not there before and the safe wasn't open before, so it was very odd. Very odd.
So, are you bringing any of these objects with you to when you come to New Orleans?
Maybe I should.
I'll say, bring that good luck thing. I need it.
Oh, I don't know if I can.
I
Well,
know trying to do a skull through TSA may not work.
you're
Right.
yeah.
Right. They'll
I
be
mean,
like,
I would love to bring
right.
Brandy because Brandy's like such a vibe, and people love seeing the skull. But maybe I should bring some of the haunted objects, and maybe we can see like if we get anything on
Sure.
the ghost tour, ghost hunt while we're there.
It might stir up stuff.
It very well
Yeah.
could, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're on to something.
Yeah, exactly.
I was interested in when I was, researching and stuff about you, and I noticed, that you are a motivational speaker, influencer, and that you actually spoke at like a juvenile center.
Hmm.
And I liked what you said, that we all make mistakes, and that you had mentioned something about redemption, and,
Hmm.
that is like the time for them to to realize their mistakes and try to do better, and try to be more of a a positive member of society. So how did that go? Do you do stuff like that frequently? Because I think that that's very admirable that you do that.
Yeah, yes, I do. And generally I mean, I never like charge to do anything like that because I told the kids when I was there, I wasn't always in the position that I'm in today. I made a series of poor choices and very bad mistakes when I was younger.
Yeah, sure.
Um, it's not like I didn't drop out of school or anything like that, but I definitely drank a lot,
Hmm.
excessively, and it led to a lot of bad choices. So I just think about how much I have overcome, I guess, in the time that I have been, you know, alive, and just I guess having that realization that I wanted more from my life than just to be in a haze every day of my life. I learned just a lot about myself in the process, and I really want to reach out to other people, especially kids, and especially troubled kids who might feel like there's no other option. Um, because I guess throughout this whole process, I learned that, we don't have to be restricted by these restraint or constraints that society puts upon us.
Hmm.
I think like when we are young, we are told from the get-go that we have to work like a 9 to 5 job, and we have to, you know, marry the opposite sex and have, you know, kids and have a house with a white picket fence. And I don't think that that's everybody's reality. I think everybody's reality is different. And I really strongly believe that everybody should be able to work a job that they love and are passionate about rather than just working their life away for someone else.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and that's my goal. Is to be able to do that. So, in your books, you wrote about New Orleans. That's your new book, and I noticed that you also wrote one about Detroit, haunted Detroit. Now, what were the other two books about?
So, my first book is Haunted Bay City, Michigan, and that's about my hometown, and that was my very first book. So, no, if you read it, forgive me, it's not as refined as this one, my fourth one is. But, and then my other book is Haunted Bars and Pubs of Michigan. So that was my third book, and that kind of features, I think, 10 different bars from across the state.
Well, if you need someone to help you, like maybe like help you tour or whatever of haunted pubs and bars in New Orleans, here I am. Just want to
Well,
throw that
see,
out there.
I'm definitely at the point now where I can drink socially and I'm very responsible with it. So I definitely love going to the bars in New Orleans. And I'm curious what your favorite bar is because my favorite bar is May Bailey's place.
Oh
Love
yeah,
that place.
I've never been.
Oh, so beautiful.
I know it was on Ghost Adventures, but I've never been, to the actual place. My
Hmm.
favorite is like the Always Lounge, and so it's one of my favorites, and the Page Bar. So we'll have to check those out one day. But I had a quote that you had on your Facebook, and I thought that is a really fitting, and it said, "Words have the power to both destroy and heal."
Hmm.
And when words are both true and kind, they can change our world. And that was by Buddha. And do you see yourself writing other books about maybe inspirational things, but other than the paranormal, of course, you stay in the paranormal field. But I'm just curious with your, about being a motivational speaker and influence. Like, do you have plans on maybe writing books like that to kind of encourage other people or to inspire?
I mean, I think if the opportunity ever presented itself, that I very much would be happy to do something like that. With my current publisher, it's that would just be a no-go simply because it's like regional history books.
Sure, sure.
Um, but yeah, like I would never rule out doing something like that. I think above all, I just want to be able to touch a lot of people's lives and inspire people to live their best life and just kind of show them that you can go through hard times and you can come out of it on top and you can thrive. You don't have to just merely survive. And so that's really the message I want to spread in any form, whether it be in the form of a book or just by word of mouth.
What would be your dream place to write a book about the haunted places of fill in the blank?
Well, to be honest with you, this New Orleans book really was my dream. I've been really trying hard to like get this to be a thing since 2014.
Oh wow.
The the fact that it's like finally happening. I mean, I got postcards. I'll show you postcards right here with the book cover, and I almost passed out with pure delight yesterday. So yeah, so that was thrilling in itself. But if I had to write about somewhere else that I love, I'd probably want to write a haunted book about the UK.
Hmm.
I have a lot of friends there, so it'd be really fun to like collaborate with somebody and kind of, have to go there to do research, like what a hardship that would be, but that would be probably my second big dream.
Oh, definitely. I've always had an interest in the UK, and there are so many stories and locations there of hauntings and just mystical things. And I mean, it's on, if you really think about it, it's on like a different level. I'm not saying it's more than what we have here in the U.S. or vice versa, but it's just like a different level. It's different, because they have such a rich history and a longer history.
Yeah.
That and older structures, and it is just so much there. So I think that would probably be an unending supply of information and stuff that if someone wrote that would be writing a book about that they definitely would have. You have just like the castles and the pubs and just everything there is just mostly haunted anyway. So I think that would be a cool idea for you to do that.
Well, I think the thing that would be the most challenging for me if I did that is because I always laugh about it, but I say my toxic trait is like I have to trace the history to whatever I'm writing about as far back to its origin date as possible. And with some of these places in the UK, I mean, oh my God,
You'd
they
be in
go to
heaven.
like a 904 AD or
Hmm.
whatever. Like, I don't think that anybody's got time for all that. So
You'd
I'd
just be in a
probably,
loop.
yeah, I'd probably have to just sum it up quick, which would be very hard for me because I'm thorough in my history.
Right, right. Like in America too. Like, do you have another place here in the U.S. that you would like to write about?
I mean, I would just love to continue writing about Michigan and potentially maybe another book about New Orleans in the future, just because I feel like I have to have some sort of a strong connection to these places that I write about. I feel like if I don't have that connection, the book's not going to be like authentic or be as good as it could be. And my love for New Orleans, especially, is just so strong that I feel like, if they gave me another project tomorrow about it, I feel like I could do it justice just because I know the lengths I would go to make sure of that. But yeah, there's really nowhere else I love more than New Orleans here in the States. I mean, I guess I love the East Coast quite a bit. Like
Hmm.
Massachusetts is a really cool state. I love Los Angeles, California. Yeah, my heart's really in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, because it's funny because I've also mentioned this before on the show. We have, I interviewed different people in our field, and they always talk about New Orleans and how that it takes a piece of your heart.
Mm.
When you come, it's like it's no place like it on earth, and then you never forget it. And not only do you never forget it, it's just in your blood, and it's hard to not that I want to, but it's hard to kind of, like, if I wanted to move somewhere else or do something different, it would be really hard for me, to leave here. So I do understand that passion and that love that you have for New Orleans. And guess what? You get to come home in October.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is by far like the home within my heart,
right.
and it has been for, you know, such a long time, since the first time I went there in 2009. And I am very proud of the book that I wrote about it, because to me, it was, like I said before, it's important for me to honor, locals, people like you who live that experience more regularly than I do. And have people authentically portrayed, and even have the ghosts authentically portrayed, because New Orleans is not all not everybody in New Orleans speaks English. There's just so many people from all over the world that have settled there. And I noticed with a lot of the ghost stories, I mean, we're talking about French ghosts and Spanish ghosts and ghosts of all different cultures, but yet we're having them all speak English. And I said, not this time.
Yeah.
We got to honor that diversity, I think.
I think I like what you said about being true and authentic. And so from New Orleans, we do appreciate that you're showing that aspect in light of your book. Now, if someone wants to order your book or just any of your books, where do they need to go? Because we're going to put that also up, when for people to see. But what's the website, or where should they go?
So they can go to arcadiapublishing.com. They can go on Amazon, um, barnesandnoble.com, Books a Million, Target, Walmart. They're all available for, well, I should say, Haunted French Quarter Hotels is available for pre-order right now on all of those sites that I had just listed. If you are interested in the other titles, if you just go to Amazon, I have an author page on there. You can
Okay.
either search my name, or you can just type in Haunted French Quarter Hotels. And you should be able to find my other books in doing that search.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Nicole, I know you're very busy, and I do appreciate you coming on the show and being a guest. I'm so excited to get to meet you in person. I feel like we're already friends, and so it'll
Oh,
be
yes.
really cool, to do that event with you and just see you in your element. And like I said, it's Nicole Day, October the 4th, so I think that's kind of cool. So thank you so much for being on the show, and I hope you'll join us again.
Oh, thank you so much, Misty. And I would love to join you again. I hope you
Thank
have a
you.
great evening.
You too. And everybody, thank you so much. Don't forget to go on Amazon and order Nicole's books. They're very good. I got a sneak peek of the French haunted French Quarter hotels, and y'all be sure to check out chapter 8. You might see someone in there, a couple of people that you may know. So really excited. So I will see everyone next week, and have a good night, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.